Hi students, welcome to Hindu editorial analysis of Vijayata IAS Academy. In this video, we are going to discuss about the lead article given in the Hindu newspaper regarding India's stand on the Ukraine war. As you know, the war is going on between Russia and Ukraine, but India is showing neutral position with respect to this war. And let us see the contents what it is given. This article you can relate to international relations in GS2 and in GS4 mainly this article is helpful in related to the topic ethical issues in international relations. It is in GS4. Let us see what are the contents given in this. The main crux of this lead article is India has the moral responsibility to condemn these attacks and India should declare its position very clearly and it should condemn the Russia's attacks. This is the overall crux of this lead article. Here the author is now explaining his position why India should condemn Russia. Here author is saying India has moral responsibility because it is one of the world's largest countries. As India's world's largest countries, one of the largest countries, small countries like Ukraine expect help from India, at least in principle condemning the aggression by its big neighbor. That is why one of the reasons author is trying to say that it is as one of the world's largest countries as and also one of the most populous democracy. Here this important most populous democracy. It is the largest democratic country in the world. Functioning democratic country in the world. Being two reasons, India is having moral responsibility to condemn these attacks. However, at United Nations, India has refused to condemn the violations of the rights of Ukrainians. It affects Indians in their interaction with the rest of the world in future unfavorably. So this is the crux of this point. By being not condemning or by being neutral in this particular incident, as of now it is appearing that it is in the interest of India we are taking this position, but according to author it is going to affect Indians in future. Wherever, because India is having strong Indian diaspora. Indians settled in different parts of the world. In USA also many Indians are there. Now USA is condemning Russia's attacks and it is even imposing sanctions on Russia. But many Indians who are residing in America may face some kind of disturbance in their day-to-day interaction with Americans. This is what it affects Indians in their interaction with the rest of the world in the future unfavorably. And also while dealing with the future foreign policies also, India cannot justify its action by becoming neutral or not condemning these attacks. As of now, India defending its position based on two main reasons. One is a country must be guided by its national interest, not some abstract principles. Even though in this case Ukraine is a small country and it did not provoke Russia directly, rather Russia unilaterally declared its war without provocation from Ukraine. That means a large country with its armed might is now bullying a small neighbor. This is violating the rights of Ukraine because it is an independent sovereign country with all rights like Russia. In this case, as principle, if we see the principle also, it is violating the rights of Ukraine. Some who are defending India's position saying that we should not take our position based on the abstract principles, we should go by national interests. As of now, our national interest is to have good relations with Russia, so we cannot condemn Russia. Second reason is why Russia is needed. A high dependence of Russia on Soviet Union for defense equipment and the likely need of support on the Pakistan issue in the Security Council. In future, already Soviet Union has helped us so many times at international forums, and in future also when it comes to Pakistan issue, we need support of Russia, and also we are depending on defense related equipments. Based on these two reasons, we cannot antagonize Russia. That is why we are not able to condemn Russia's actions. But here author is clearly saying that India should condemn, because he is countering these arguments by saying that by taking principle at moment, it is going to safeguard national interests as well. And also with respect to defense equipment, now earlier it was a different scenario. Immediately after independence, the world politics were different. World was divided into two parts, like Western world and Eastern world, or communist world and capitalist world. Those times foreign policy was guided by the requirements of that time. But now defense related equipments can be imported from various other countries also. We need not to completely depend on Soviet Union or the successor of Soviet Union, Russia. On these two principles, author is trying to counter these two reasons, and finally he is saying that India should condemn these attacks and it is in the national interest. The result is that India makes statement that convince no one, only drawing attention to its lack of commitment to principle in international affairs. By being neutral or abstaining in the United Nations Security Council and other fora, it is convincing no one, and it is showing that it is lack of commitment to principles in international affairs. But when it comes to international affairs, India always tries to see international order based on principles. So we Indians in international fora like United Nations, we tried to establish an international order based on principles only. But as of now, we are not standing on the principle. If India does not want to see itself to be the victim of territorial aggression in the future, it must communicate strongly on the world stage that it condemns the Russian invasion of Ukraine. India is the one of the foremost countries which wants rule-based world order, which wants world run on principles. But at this moment, at this juncture, India is not following this particular principle. Comparing the defending position is earlier comparing the abstention in United Nations on Soviet invasion of Hungary in 1956. In 1956 also, Soviet Union invaded Hungary, and in that position also India abstained in United Nations. So there is a comparison between 1956 position and at moment also. In 1956 we abstained from UN resolution in that particular case, and it served our purpose or it helped India after 1956. Similarly in 2022 also we are taking this position and it will serve our national interest in future also. This is one kind of comparison. But now author is trying to differentiate between two scenarios. In 1950s, the West was clearly unsympathetic to India, playing its card openly on the Kashmir issue at the United Nations as early as 1947. He is trying to distinguish between two events. In 1950s, Western countries led by USA was unsympathetic to India's position in Kashmir with respect to Kashmir, and also Soviet Union was sympathetic to India's position, and always Soviet Union helped India in United Nations, and Western countries were always seeing India and Pakistan, and they tried to link Pakistan relations and India's relations with respect to Kashmir. That is why 1950s the relationship between India and Western countries was different comparing with present day. Now close to 75 years, the situation has changed. Public opinion in the West does not favor unconditional support of Pakistan vis-a-vis India while Russia encourages Pakistan. Earlier, Western countries used to support unconditionally Pakistan because India is a large country, Pakistan was a small country. That is why Western countries unconditionally used to support Pakistani's argument with respect to Jammu and Kashmir. But now, Western countries are not looking Pakistan in the same way because of the experience of terrorism, and Western countries are also seen Pakistan as a country which is harboring terrorism. That is why the relationship with Western countries and Pakistan is also not like 1950s. With respect to India, Western countries are engaging more with India. When it comes to Russia, Russia is now encouraging Pakistan, going more closer to Pakistan. So author is clearly demarcating the difference between 1950s scenario and 2022 scenario. Because of this, we cannot compare 1956 abstention with 2022 UNSC abstention. And with respect to defense supply argument, correct that India relies on Russians. And also in the past, we bought guns from Sweden also, Western countries, UK and France. In past we could purchase, in future also we can purchase from these countries. So it is like, it is not that only Russians have the capability and we always should depend on Russians. We can import the weapons whatever is required for India from other countries, Western countries as well. When we have the capacity to pay money, then there are many suppliers to give the weapons. This is what author is highlighting. So this defense, whatever the reason we need defense support from Russia, that argument need not to be taken. We need not to be worried about defense supplies. And another argument, it is a conflict between East and West and India should stay out of it. Like Cold War time period, when Soviet Union and USA were fighting against each other in proxy wars, India abstained or followed non-aligned movement. Likewise, now also East and West they are conflicting and India should stay out of it. Here in this case, unprovoked aggression towards an independent country should be condemned. And author is saying that in this case, it is unprovoked aggression towards an independent country, that is Ukraine, and it should be condemned. And morally, by not condemning it, morally it is not defensible. Morally we cannot justify this particular action. And India's principle and why India should condemn means India itself openly or proudly say that we always want Vasudhaiva Kutumbam. We always believe in the concept or principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbam, where all countries are like family members. So if we believe in this principle, in single family, if any member is bullying the weaker person, then family do not stay calm. So that is why even in our own India's principles also, this particular incident requires condemnation from India. And after independence, Panchashil, we followed peaceful coexistence. Now this principle is, according to this principle also, we should condemn this particular incident. And today's Vishwaguru concept, in today's world also, our government is trying to project India being a Vishwaguru, and world has so much to learn from India. But now in this case, by not condemning, by staying calm, once again, we are not doing justice to our own fundamental principles. India, the invasion of Ukraine, rather like Hitler's invasion, he is trying to project like in 1939, when Hitler invaded Poland, it resulted in catastrophic Second World War. So those kind of incidents take place in our history very rarely. Russia's invasion of Ukraine also is like a similar kind of scenario. Once in a century event, very rarely such kind of scenarios do take place. But after these incidents, entire world relations and foreign policies will change. That is why it is very important for India to take stand. India's foreign policy establishment seemed to have missed its significance for the world. So, like 1939, Hitler's invasion of Poland, which has changed the world order completely. Now, this kind of, even at moment also, war in Ukraine is also similar kind of event. It is going to change so many things in future world order. So it is an opportunity for India to take stand and condemn this particular incident. Otherwise, whatever stand we are taking now, it is going to create troubles for future foreign policy and also Indians who are residing in different parts of the world. India must take a long view of how it wants to engage with it. Its actions so far leave it in the company of Russia and China. As of now, whatever India's position, India is saying, it is other countries are seeing India as a member or part of Russia and China. And we are very different from Russia and China when it comes to political setup. We are a full functioning democracy. They are not democracies in full sense. They make expansionist claims based on ethnicity, prosecute their own people based on religion or sexual orientation. But India most of Indians hate based on these principles. This shows the difference between Russia, China and India. So even if we go by that principle also, India is a full functioning democracy and it has not officially discarded Panchashil also yet. So it is time to take the stand and India should condemn the attacks. It cannot look away from violations of norms and unprovoked invasions of Ukraine for fear of losing access to its supply of armaments or reciprocal support in the United Nations on matter of concern for it. Sticking to its principles is not just India's national interest, it is also its own reward. So by condemning these attacks, India is doing in India's national interest. So this is the overall contents of this article. So overall crux is India should condemn Russia for its aggressive stand towards Ukraine. Thank you.